KREM 2 News begins now.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Tim Pham. This is your KREM 2 News Week in Review. Join us as we take a closer look at some of the biggest stories in the inland Northwest this past week.
We're here. Okay. You get the baby, I'll grab the stuff.
There is a saying that time heals all wounds. And in many ways, it's been true for Jake and Jamie Highland.
All right, Shiloh. You ready, baby girl? Mama love you.
Old scars are fading,
We all love you.
and new memories are filling in where once there was only pain.
I haven't been in here since your brother.
But some wounds, so deep, simply refuse to fade away.
People ask me all the time, like when they see us walking around, they're like, oh, is this your first baby? And it's like, man, I get tired of answering that question. But in some ways, it feels like she's the first, but she's not. She's not. Precious baby love.
And then the flame passed away, and it's like, oh, we didn't die. We were well past the point of exhaustion, but we kept going and going because we're like, we need to get to a hospital. We need to get help for our baby boy.
It's been more than 3 years since the Highlands' firstborn son, Yuri, was killed when the entire family was caught in the devastating Cold Springs wildfire in Okanogan County.
Watching the life go away from my child's eyes. It's not right. My son was everything.
He's the light of our world.
Jamie also lost her unborn baby, and her injuries, plus the infection that came after, were so severe doctors told her she would never again have children.
I'm not just a woman hoping to be a mom someday. I am someone who has experienced motherhood and then had it taken away.
Their grief was unimaginable.
Before, I didn't really know why we were living.
Because you were just surviving.
Yeah, just like, you know, day to day, like, why am I even, like, do I even deserve to eat? Like, why am I eating? What's the point? Like,
I would say there's two different pains. There's the pain of missing our son, and that pain is always there until heaven. But there's also the pain of being parents without a child.
And the pain continued for 2 more years as they worked to heal their injuries both outside and in, and turned to surrogacy to try and have more kids.
every time it failed, it was just like my cup that was already really, really empty just felt like it had even more holes in it.
So we were thrust into a grieving process yet again, and then we had a little miracle.
Habu. Habu.
A miracle named Shiloh.
So we implanted her on Yuri's birthday.
Yeah. When she was born, she went onto my chest and latched on and started nursing, and I called Jacob, and I was like, she's here.
And while it thrust the young parents back into the juggling act of a new baby,
Whoa, wiggly, wiggly girl.
Jacob says it was a welcome change.
It's just, there's something about a child's laughter that just is healing.
And even though Yuri has passed on, they both agree he's never really gone.
Dada and a bubble boy.
There's like a continuity when somebody's life ends. It doesn't actually end. You know, they live on in memories and our thoughts, and that doesn't change. It just kind of makes you got to grow around it.
So the Highland family is growing together,
Yeah, I think I got this.
never forgetting those old memories.
I think about it probably every day, but I don't think about it all day.
But making room for the healing power of new life.
She's like, I don't want to be in here. I don't want to be in here.
In Seattle, Whitney
She's
Ward,
a baby all covered in kisses.
KREM 2 News.
Yeah, you want the bag?
Quite a shocking moment. I'm in the parking lot of St. Vincent de Paul's Help Center, and police say this is where a man tried to grab a young girl out of her car, and her father had to take drastic action.
Emotions just went through me, and I ended up, just grabbing her, holding her, started crying, telling her I loved her.
It was supposed to be a normal evening for Richard Swaggart and his 6-year-old daughter.
We were sitting there waiting in the parking lot watching the Minions.
Swaggart was waiting for his fiancée at the St. Vincent de Paul's Help Center. That all changed when Swaggart noticed a man approaching his car.
My instinct was to just get her away from him and get her out of the situation as quickly as possible.
Swaggart says the man came up to his passenger side of his car where his daughter was sitting and started to ask questions. In a matter of seconds, Swaggart says the man grabbed at his daughter and tried to pull her out.
I always have an eye on him, but this was just a freak accident.
Court documents show Swaggart then put the car into reverse to stop him. Documents show the suspect then jumped on top of the car's hood.
This new crack right here going up when he had his body pressed against the car,
which caused Swaggart to put the car into drive and shake the suspect off the car before driving away.
Slammed it in drive, went forward as fast as I could, slammed on the brakes, threw him off the front of the car.
Swaggart then drove away from the area and called police. The suspect, Peter Cahoon, fled the scene, but police tracked him down in the area and arrested him.
I just celebrated my 5th year anniversary on Monday, and to my knowledge, nothing like this has happened.
Larry Riley is executive director for St. Vincent de Paul, North Idaho. He never thought an incident like this could happen right in his backyard.
We do our fire drills, we have shooter training, etc., anything that a smart business might do. But it's just a reminder to be aware of your surroundings.
Cahoon is held in jail on several counts, including attempted kidnapping and battery. There is surveillance video that showed the moments of the attempted kidnapping. St. Vincent de Paul told me they couldn't provide me the video because of the police investigation. I did have a chance to watch the video, and I can say that the entire incident lasted less than a minute. In Coeur d'Alene, Nathan Hyun, KREM 2 News.
The shooting in downtown Spokane over the weekend happened just steps from the parade route. Now, although Spokane police say they weren't related, this shooting still has some people on edge. But the latest crime data shows things are improving in downtown Spokane. It's that time of year when Spokane draws crowds downtown for major events, including the annual Armed Forces Torchlight Parade. But all that fun and excitement comes to a halt when your safety may be at stake. Over the weekend, Spokane police responded to a shooting at a downtown Spokane store near the parade route.
We were thankful that the Spokane Police Department reacted quickly.
President and CEO Emily Cameron says public safety is a big priority for the downtown Spokane partnership.
Well, when there are isolated incidents like what happened this weekend in downtown, it can absolutely have a ripple effect and people can question their safety.
There's a perception that downtown Spokane is not safe. The recent shooting near the parade didn't help calm those fears, but data from Spokane police shows things are improving downtown. SPD's latest data shows violent crime in the downtown precinct decreased by nearly 7% over the past year, and property crime went down by more than 14%. SPD attributes some of that improvement to the department's reorganization last year. This put more officers on the street and increased their presence downtown. The Downtown Spokane Partnership also contributes to the safety of downtown Spokane.
We have our uniformed ambassadors who are on the streets of downtown 7 days a week. They are there to be eyes and ears and to help protect people who are in downtown.
I think that we should never be satisfied with our response on public safety.
City Council member Paul Dillon chairs the city's Public Safety Committee. He applauds SPD's immediate response to the shooting over the weekend. But Dillon also believes public safety can always be improved.
I am committed to looking at an ordinance around public events, bringing weapons that can cause harm to people. I think that that's something that oftentimes in cities we overlook.
We also received a statement from the interim city administrator that says the city prioritizes emergency preparedness plans for all major events, adding that coordinated response plans were successfully executed over the weekend during the downtown shooting. We'll have that statement on KREM.com. Reporting in downtown Spokane, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
I'm by Garland Avenue, which is near the scene of where the shooting took place. We actually received surveillance video from a nearby business that shows the shooting and the moments leading up to it. The time is 5:28 in the morning on Garland Avenue between Post and Howard Street. You can see in the video a black SUV speeds in front of a silver truck and tries to cut it off. That's when both cars stop at the top of the screen. Both drivers come out of their cars, and in a matter of seconds, one of the drivers pulls out a gun and starts shooting at the other driver. Businesses in the area were startled by the shooting.
I've been here since, well, my dad bought this building in '79, so we've been here a long time. And no, we have never quite had this happen.
Bonnie Quinn is the owner of Quinn Advertising.
It is shocking to have this happen right here, right in front of my business.
The shooting happened on the same street of Quinn Advertising. In the video, you can see the man who shot the gun walks back and forth from his car and the victim. Police arrived 3 minutes after the first shots.
How do you even put in words when you see someone's life taken? And it's a senseless act of violence.
Spokane police say an interaction happened between the suspect and victim, beginning at least a block from the scene. Fire and EMS responded to the scene, but police say despite life-saving measures, one man died on scene.
Around 5:30, I heard it went pop, 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 pop.
Jeffrey Smith lives in the Garland district and was near the shooting when it happened. He says he didn't expect to start his morning the way it did.
There was a lot of confusion at first, with all this commotion going on, people not really knowing what to do.
Caleb Carter was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. He is currently held in the Spokane County Jail. The road behind me opened up a little after noon. Major crimes and forensics were on scene investigating all morning long, and Spokane police say more information could be released at a later time. In Spokane, Nathan Hyun, KREM 2 News.
Kootenai County prosecutors say a second-degree murder conviction doesn't always lead to a life sentence, but that's exactly what happened in this courtroom today, all because the judge wanted to send a very clear message that this crime will not be tolerated. Jealousy and greed. These are what prosecutors and the judge say motivated Daniel Howard to kill his wife Kendi and stage her death as a suicide.
You can take from the evidence that she fought for her life.
Howard took Kendi's life 3 years ago, and now he will spend the rest of his in prison.
Despite your efforts at the time to appear emotional and sad and distraught, it's clear to me that you're a remorseless killer.
Kendi's family told the judge they are haunted by what they could have done to protect her.
I struggle with guilt and I struggle with not knowing. I wish I could have convinced her to stay with me instead of going home that night. The fear on her face and in her voice when she told me about how she woke up with him standing over her will never leave me.
Kendi's daughter, Brooke Wilkins, says her mother never let anything get her down. That's why it's become important to her to keep a positive outlook going forward.
Nothing will fill the hole he has created. Nothing can fix or undo what he has done. But her name can be free. The thought that he can no longer have control over her name, her memory, and her spirit gives me a sense of peace.
Howard insists he is innocent and told the judge he loved his wife.
I'm not that monster, I assure you, that people portray me to be.
My office clearly feels otherwise we wouldn't have charged it.
Kootenai County Prosecutor Stanley Mortensen considers the life sentence the best possible outcome, one that Kendi's parents are happy with as well.
It's not going to bring her back, but we're relieved that he's not going to be released and be out there to hurt somebody else.
Howard now has 42 days to file an appeal. At this time, it's not clear if that's something he's going to pursue. Reporting in Coeur d'Alene, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
All right, prepare to vote.
With a vote of 5-2, the Latah Valley Development Moratorium passed at Monday's Spokane City Council meeting. City officials say it goes into effect immediately. This map right here shows the moratorium zone covering the Latah, Hangman, and Grandview Thorpe neighborhoods. During the moratorium, the city won't accept, process, review, and/or approve any new applications for this area. City documents say the reasons behind the proposal are because of the significant development seen in this area and a lack of fire protection resources. This area also has a temporary Spokane Fire Department fire station and not very many roads in and out of the developments. Councilmember Paul Dillon was one of the moratorium sponsors.
I do think
there's a lot of weight to a moratorium. I think this will provide some internal accountability for us, and this can't wait.
Councilmember Michael Cathcart weighed in on the proposal, saying because there's a limited area for developers to build in Spokane, putting a large area like Latah Valley on hold is not thoughtful policymaking.
All you're doing is making housing harder to site, more expensive, more challenging. There is no good for the city as a whole by doing that.
While the moratorium does go into effect immediately, a public hearing's also scheduled for July 15th. Now, this isn't the first time this area has been under a moratorium. The most recent one started back in the fall of 2022. It lasted for 6 months. In the studio, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
We were driving up and over the mountain pass, and then on the side of the road were 2 logs still smoldering, to the point that when I pulled them out into the road, they started back on fire, completely unattended. Nobody in sight, and we haven't seen anyone in a very long time. This is how wildfires start.
We're seeing more human-caused wildfires.
After 8 years in the role as Commissioner of Public Lands, Hillary Franz knows wildfire risk, and this year has it.
We are predicting significant wildfire risk for the state of Washington as we head into the 2024 season.
Coming out of our El Nino winter, things are dry. The El Nino brought warmer temperatures and less moisture to the northwest, and forecast models indicate that trend will likely continue through most of summer. La Nina conditions are emerging, but the cool, wet pattern likely won't arrive in the northwest until fall. Drought conditions are present in the northern Rockies, Cascades, and even the Olympic Mountains. The drying out that started a year ago continued through winter with a much lower snowpack. Timber takes a long time to dry out and just as long to regain its moisture, meaning our forests will be more prone to wildfires this year. When timber burns, it creates the most smoke and air quality concerns, even though it's not what typically gives us the most acres burned in a year. That's grass, or fine fuels. An abundance of moisture in southern Idaho and eastern Oregon this year allowed those grasses and fine fuels the ability to thrive. While that might sound like a good thing initially, those fuels typically dry out quickly in the heat of summer and ignite easily and burn quickly. For us here in eastern Washington and North Idaho, that combination doesn't bode well. The lack of snowpack in the mountains means a higher fire danger this summer for some of the forests, but then down low, we still saw enough moisture to get the grasses and fine fuels to normal levels, so those will dry out and be primed for burning later this summer. Hot, dry, windy conditions or critical fire weather days are becoming more common as our climate changes. An entire fire season can boil down to just one day, something we saw back in 2020 in Malden, or just last year in the Oregon Road or Gray fires. Now more than ever, it comes down to us. The El Nino pattern responsible for warm, dry weather also means fewer storms and less lightning, so almost all of the wildfires this year will be caused by people. For Environment Northwest, I'm meteorologist Jeremy Legoo.
9 months after the Gray Fire tore through Medical Lake, burning thousands of acres, destroying 259 structures and tens of thousands of trees, the chaos has given way to a certain calmness, the pain turning to pride.
We think we're the crown jewel of Spokane County, actually.
Mayor Terry Cooper is quick to point out the progress made in the rebuilding process.
55 total losses in Medical Lake. We had about that many more damage, but 55 total losses. So we have 40 of those that have walls standing right now, which is incredible. We're not even at a year.
But what about the lake itself? Several viewers have reached out to our Verify team to ask if the water is safe to swim and recreate in following the firefighting efforts. They question if things like fire retardant, debris, or runoff have polluted the water. We took those questions to Chad Pritchard, a geology professor at Eastern Washington University who also serves on City Council, the city's wastewater director, Steve Cooper, and to the mayor.
Is Medical Lake safe to use this summer for people?
It is. It is safe to use.
The mayor says her confidence is based on regular testing for things like oxygen and pH levels, total phosphorus, nitrogen, and water temperature. Steve Cooper says the results have consistently shown the lake is healthy and safe.
One of the things that we were concerned about was stormwater getting, from the houses that were on fire, getting washed into the storm drains and coming down to the lake. So that was on our monitoring list, and fortunately that never happened.
So if someone came to you and asked you, hey, is the lake safe to use this summer following the wildfires from last summer, what would you tell them?
I would tell them absolutely. It's a great place to swim.
As luck would have it, city officials took a water sample from the lake the day before the Gray Fire started, allowing them to compare those results to samples following the fire.
And so we were able to sample the lake after the fire and before the fire, and that PFAS for the fire retardant, flame retardant, was exactly the same. So they poured phosphate around the lake, and we do see a slight impact in phosphorus in the lake, but it's still well below any levels that you'd be concerned about.
Safe to recreate in.
Oh, of course.
So we can verify Medical Lake is safe and healthy following the Gray Fire. One less thing to worry about as the community rebuilds and recovers from the historic wildfire.
So right now, summer break is about 11 weeks long. With this new schedule, summer would only be 7 to 8 weeks. Now, this wouldn't add any more actual school days. Students would still be in school for only 180 days throughout the year. Instead, though, they'd get longer fall, winter, and spring breaks, plus an added midwinter break. Earlier today, I found some families to talk to about this potential change. At Liberty Park, a more suitable name for Sharon Pepitone is Grandma.
My grandson is 5 and a half. He's going to be 6 in June.
He's in the Spokane Public School District, meaning he might grow up with summer vacations different than the ones we remember.
I think it would work.
SPS is calling this new potential schedule a balanced calendar. It's in between the traditional calendar and a year-round school.
Sounds like it would work great, but you'd still need to realize there's going to be parents who say, what am I supposed to do with my kids?
The district says their child care and nutrition partners are already on board to make the change. So overall, Grandma is supportive. She isn't just Grandma, though. Another name you could call Sharon is a former teacher.
When you give a kid 11 weeks, they forget things, and then the teacher has to reteach before she can teach the new things that the students need to know for the new year.
Another mom,
watch out, nice,
Erica Wegner,
love you,
says she agrees with Sharon.
I wrote my first paper supporting year-round schooling schedules in middle school myself back at Sacagawea way long ago.
Now she's actually doing that with her kids.
Yeah, so we've always schooled through the summer somewhat.
Erica has her kids in a hybrid homeschool public school program.
It always made sense to me to not have a huge break in the summer and have breaks year-round, because then you get to enjoy the inland Northwest in every season, not just the summer.
This plan is not set in stone yet. The next time SPS will talk about this will be in August, and if things do change, it wouldn't be until the 2026-27 school year. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
My great-grandmother told a story about how the Spokanes came to live in the city of Spokane.
The
Spokane tribe's creation story is more than just a legend passed down through generations. It explains why the river, the salmon, and the land are so important to the tribe.
Today, you have geologists and scientists that verify our oral history from 10,000 years ago.
And it's why tribal members were so upset that they weren't included in the original plans for Expo 74.
This is our river. This was our homeland.
Margot Hill was 6 when she heard her great-grandmother tell the creation story at Expo 74.
My great-grandmother, Sadie Boyd, lived to be 103, but at Expo she was 90. And she spoke and she told the history of the Spokane area from 1910.
50 50 years later, you're listening to Margot's son and Sadie's great-great-grandson, Craig, tell that same story.
You
know, tribes were an afterthought unfortunately, for the King Cole and the organizers 50 years ago. But I can tell you that our tribal pavilion and the native village was one of the most visited villages of all the expo events.
The Spokane tribe had to take their fight all the way to Washington, D.C. Finally, then Senator Warren Magnuson stepped in, paving the way for the tribes to exhibit their heritage on their native land.
We had
to fight to have participation. You know, we were part of the Folk Life Festival, and out of 100 acres, you know, we had to fight like heck. The Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, and Kalispell tribes came together to create the Native Village to showcase the variety in all of our Northwest tribes. There's Plains, American Indian, there's Plateau, we're Interior Salish Plateau, and Coastal. And so we wanted to represent all the tribal cultures. I just remember the war dances and the drumming and the songs that we shared at that time. The original caretakers of the land, showing the world what it truly means to celebrate tomorrow's fresh new environment. As Indigenous people, we live with the environment and with the salmon. The tribes had been living with nature since time immemorial.
That is all.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories of the past week. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for it at the bottom of the navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.